Welcome to the Marketing Mixtape Podcast, hosted by me, Brittany Winfield of The Winfield Creative. If you have a burning marketing question, submit it at speakpipe.com/marketingmixtape, and we'd love to answer it on a future episode. And don't forget to like and subscribe, baby! And if you're really feeling like it, leave us a review so we can find more listeners just like you. So sit back, sip that coffee, and enjoy this episode of the Marketing Mixtape Podcast. Let's go! You know what I'm talking about. Likes, views, follower counts, the stuff that looks good on paper, but doesn't always mean that your business is growing and doesn't always mean that the work you are putting into your social media strategy is converting to help you reach those business goals. So in this episode, we are breaking down the difference between metrics that make you feel popular and metrics that actually move your business forward. So let's get into it. Vanity metrics. They're not bad, they are just not everything. Say it with me. They're not bad, they're just not everything. Vanity metrics include likes, views, follower counts, reach to a degree, asterisks there, and impressions. To an even looser degree, double asterisk. These are metrics that are very much controlled by the algorithm and how moody it is that day. Yes, these metrics can be helpful for tracking trends or tracking visibility, but they do not always equal trust, connection, or conversions with the actual humans that are looking at your content. A post can get 10,000 views, but 0 DMs. A reel can go viral and bring in a bunch of bots, which, yes, I have experience with, and yes, we will be talking about. And you can gain 1,000 followers who never engage again with your profile. That's why I say do not ignore them, but also do not obsess over them either. Value metrics, these are real measures of growth, real key performance indicators, aka KPIs, that measure the amount of community building that you are doing on your social media profile. So these are metrics like saves, how many people want to come back to your post, shares, your content is now working for you and people are sharing it with their stories, with their own communities, with people in the direct messages. People are sharing your content because they like it so much, they want other people to see it and share the love for it. These are metrics like comments with depth. Words like, "This is so helpful," rather than just a fire emoji, or even more so, asking questions to you so you can add more context to that person's comment and more context to the topic that you're talking on. Side note, this is also why it's important to engage with other people, especially not just dropping smiley face emojis to other people's posts, but also deeper commentary. Okay, back to the list. Profile clicks. Curiosity is sparked. People are looking at your unique profile to measure whether or not you are worth taking up space on their newsfeed. Website taps or link in bio clicks, that is telling you that people are taking a next step into curiosity. That tells you that people are taking the next step in engaging specifically with you. Specifically with your product, specifically with your services. So in addition to making sure the content is good, wherever you are directing them to, make sure it's good, make sure it's got the context they need in order to keep on your webpage. Value metrics also include DMs that say words like, "How can I work with you?" And it includes email signups, of course sales, and booking call inquiries from a post. If it leads to a conversation, a connection, or a conversion, it is a value metric. So let's say that you post a reel that gets 92 likes. That's pretty good for some folks. That might be a little bit low for others. But then you notice that it has 24 saves, 6 shares, 8 profile visits and 3 new inquiries in your direct messages. Did it go viral? No. But did it work? Yes. Never let low likes distract you from high impact signals. And that's why it's also important to make sure that these follow-up procedures, once you create the awareness, wherever you are converting them to, that those pipelines are nailed down. Am I saying to not create a social media account before you have a website? No, it's still creating awareness. However, you do need to put them somewhere. So the only thing you can do is create a landing page to capture their information because you work so hard to spark the curiosity, then that's what you have to do. But things move so fast on social media. So that is why it's important to have a system set up that focuses on value metrics and focuses on how do you engage with your follower list, not just keep them on your follower list. Shifting your mindset from focusing on vanity metrics to value metrics, it matters because when you stop chasing applause and start tracking alignment, things get a lot clearer for the next steps of your strategy. You're no longer going to be posting for attention, you're posting for connection. And that means measuring success by how many people saw it. This means you're not measuring success by how many people saw the post, but rather how many people cared enough to act on the post itself. And honestly, that is worth a lot more weight in gold, aka money, aka revenue for your business. So why wouldn't you want to make that mindset shift? Here are some actionable takeaways that you can use so that way you are focusing more on growing those value metrics and those conversions rather than just focusing on how many followers that you have. The first actionable takeaway is start checking your saves, shares, and DMs more often than your likes. So especially on Instagram, you could go into your insights and it gives you a ton of data as to the demographics of people that are sharing and saving your content. For Reels, you also want to look at watch time. So you want to get people to watch past the first 3 seconds so that way they're actually watching all of your content rather than just the hook and then they're not interested, so they scroll away. So checking on saves and shares and trying to also create content that encourages more saves and shares and DMs. So thinking about how can you switch up some of those call to actions. Second key takeaway is asking yourself, did it create a connection with somebody and did I provide value to my audience? Number 3, I already kind of hinted at this, but using call to actions that drive more valuable interaction, not just like this post, but a call to action that encourages somebody to save the post, especially if you're giving away valuable information. If you are using more of the educational content pillar, that is a great way to encourage saves on posts. I do this with my post ideas for the month. People are not going to have that post on their newsfeed on the 28th of the month. So when I post it on the 1st, I encourage people to save it so they have it for the full month. That's just an example of how you can shift up your content so that way it naturally aligns with that call to action. Asking people for more shares. So according to Adam Masori, who is the head of Instagram, this is actually why brands that lean more on the entertainment content pillar do better and get more visibility. Think about a clip from ESPN of like a sports highlight. I'm not a sports girly, but like Kentucky Derby just happened, for example. That winning clip of Sovereignty, the horse that just won the Kentucky Derby, crossing the finish line. Of course, that's going to go viral because people are sharing it with like-minded people that want to see that clip, that highlight reel. Taking that same idea, we can also imagine like memes that are funny, for example. Those two things land in that content pillar of entertaining. So if you are a brand where it feels okay to include some humor, some lightheartedness, some entertainment into your content, that is a way to increase shares with others and to include that as your call to action. So share this with a friend who also need some motivation today, or share this with a friend who needed to hear this today. Share this on your stories if you claim this energy. That type of content, call to action, can help boost those value metrics, which increases that visibility on that post. Takeaway number 4 is reviewing your insights monthly, not daily. So monthly is always a key way, so that way you are not obsessing over it. You are looking for patterns that happen month to month and not panicking that you are not getting views. So reviewing your insights monthly allows you to be intentional and actually check on your insights, but also allows you to make smarter content decisions. And you can even filter within the app itself of what was your most shared content, like what had the most likes, and see once you click into that content, like let's say it's a reel, for example, that got the most views, got the most reach in the last 90 days, that allows you to go into that reel and ask yourself, what was different about this reel? Was it the format? Was it the messaging? Was it the topic we talked about? Was it the way you wrote the caption? Was it the music you used? Ask yourself what worked and evaluate your top 3 content posts for the month. And ask yourself, what are some themes that we can move and use into next month to build on this success that we have found? And key takeaway number 5 is focusing on quality conversions over passive visibility always. That is literally the entire point of this episode. So next time you post and the likes are low, zoom out a little bit and look for the value signals. And remember that the algorithm is a tricky little minx, and it might just be that. It just might plainly be that the algorithm is not doing what it should this month, which is why we are focusing more on value metrics, which builds community with the humans looking at your content rather than algorithm chasing. So ask yourself again, did this connect with somebody who matters in my business? Because that's the metric that really matters. If this episode helped you feel less stats stressed and more focused, make sure to give us a follow or subscribe wherever you are listening. Until next time, I'm Brittany Winfield with the Winfield Creative. Go forth and measure on, my friends. Measure what matters. See ya! Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Marketing Mixtape Podcast, brought to you by the Winfield Creative. If you enjoyed this episode, we would love it if you liked, subscribe, follow, review, do all the things so we can find more listeners just like you. And if you have a burning marketing question that you need an answer to, be sure to submit it at speakpipe.com/marketingmixtape. It only takes a second. Until next time, this is Brittany Winfield with the Winfield Creative and the Marketing Mixtape Podcast, signing off.